Hello. Last Friday, you worked on a worksheet where you would take the empirical formula of a compound and you would take some information we found from lab, which was that copper had a +2 charge and chloride had a -1 charge. You used that to be able to predict the charges on other ions. And so today you're going to be doing some more of that, but I need to go over the last problem from last Friday with you first because many of you got this problem incorrect at the end of it. And you need to fix that before you do all these problems that you're going to be doing for today. So here, this is actually a student's answer from last Friday. And it's really typical. So it's like many of yours. First of all, you had to write the formula. And how did you know what the formula is? Well, I actually told you that there were 2 potassium atoms and 1 sulfur atom in the formula. So here we have, this person wrote K2S. You should be writing that 2 as a subscript. So make sure that you when you're writing the 2, you highlight it and then you write control comma, and that will become a subscript. It'll become a small number. Then you write control comma again after you've done that to get it to write large letters again. All right, so this person wrote the formula and then they had to go make a drawing. And so I'm going to actually later show you how to make a drawing again, but they had to make the drawing and they made the drawing. It had the sulfur right here, and then it had the 2 potassiums, which are written as triangles. And that person then put the charge in the potassium, and they should have written that the charge in the potassium was a +1 because you had found that in the previous problem. All right, charge in potassium was a +1. And if the charge in the potassium is a +1, then the charge in the sulfur, well, there's 2 potassiums, each with a +1 charge. Therefore, the charge in the sulfur should be a -2 charge. All right. So you need to make sure that you have the charges correctly written in your compound. All right. And then once you do that is you go back down here and you had to write the formula for each ion. Now, this is the really important part that most of you did incorrectly. All right. If we look at this one, which is incorrect, but if we did, we would write K with a 1 minus charge. Okay, because each of these potassiums have a -1 charge. We are trying to tell people what the charge is on that ion. And so it should be K -1. And then for the sulfur, again, this is incorrect, but according to this person, the sulfur had a +2 charge or a 2 plus charge, so it should say sulfur +2. We are not telling how many of the atoms there are here. We are telling what the charges are on them. And so this person took this and wrote this part incorrectly. All right. Now, the actual correct answer should have been that each one of these is a +1. And if each one of the potassiums is a +1, it should say K +1. And then to equal that out, because every compound is neutral, it should say that this sulfur is a -2. So we go down here, it should say sulfur 2 minus. Okay, one last thing. These 2 things should not be together. These 2 ions should not be together. We are not writing the formula for a compound when we do this. We are writing the separate ions. What is the charge on potassium? Then leave some spaces and write the charge on sulfur. Okay, so separate those out. So check your answer. Make sure you understand why your answer may or may not be correct. Make sure you understand what's wrong with this one so that you can do the next one correct. I'm going to do a couple more examples for you in a couple more videos today, and then you'll be able to do some on your own.